It's May 2016 and welcome to our trip to Palma Mallorca, an old town in Ibiza.
We start our trip in Palma de Mallorca. Palma is the capital city of the Balearic Islands, situated just to the east of mainland Spain. Palma is on the southern coast of the island of Mallorca. The old walled city with its ancient windmills is centred around the Cathedral of Santa Maria of Palma, more commonly referred to as La Sur. The 11th century Baños Árabes are a reminder of Palma's ancient Moorish history. Not as impressive as the fantastic baths we saw in Cordoba, but the Arab baths in Palma make for an interesting visit, if you have a few minutes to spare. Andy, Dave and I spent a pleasant afternoon wandering around the streets of the old city, taking in the sights. And on a hot and sunny afternoon in Palma, we couldn't resist some frozen yogurt and fruit to cool down a little. We were lucky enough to arrive in town for Beer Palma, a great little festival of beers and food from Spain and around the world. I was keen to try out some of the local craft beers on offer.
Next day, we head high up into the hills above Palma to a rare 14th century round castle. As well as being open to the public as a historic tourist attraction, Belver Castle is also a popular venue to celebrate weddings.
Despite a slightly shaky start to the day's weather, we took the hour-long trip out to the far northwest of the island on the fabulous scenic railway to the town of Sola, where we boarded an equally ornate tram for the 3-kilometre ride down the hill to the port of Sola itself. The weather soon cleared and we had a glorious afternoon stroll around the bay and stopped off at a very well-equipped Irish pub for some afternoon refreshment of Galician beers and ciders, and great views out across the ocean. Then it was back on the tram, through the gorgeous orange and lemon groves for which the area is famous, and just time for a quick look around Sola town and an ice cream before taking the electric train back across the island to Palma. This should definitely be high on anyone's list of things to do when visiting Mallorca.
A short bus ride out of the main town got us to Cala Mayor, a nice little sandy cove to the west of the city. Chris went for his usual swim, and Andy had a bit of a paddle too. I preferred to explore a little and cool off in the shade. Even the fluffies enjoyed basking in the sun for a while. Out in the water, we watched in awe at those trying out flyboarding for the first time.
Later that evening, after a nice meal and beer, it was time for Dave to wave goodbye as we prepared to head off to our next Balearic stop.
We're off to Ibiza. No flying today, but a 4-hour sail across the Med to our next Balearic destination. A smooth crossing on this Balearic giant, the Sicilia, and we arrive into Ibiza town on another sunny Spanish afternoon. We're just off the ferry from Palma, and here we are in the medieval fortress of Ibiza town. High on a hill overlooking the port is Eivissa, the old town of Ibiza, with the fortified citadel Dalt Vila. Wandering around the ramparts, we come across some local buskers entertaining the passers-by. It's an amazing walled city with spectacular views and plenty of windy little streets to wander around. On one such street, we found a lovely little cafe perched on the hillside with comfy beanbag seating running right up the steps outside and with great views across the city. There was a lovely selection of tapas from homemade hummus to bocadillos and salads. Out to the west we went for a walk along Figueretas beach and caught a rare rain shower, so we stopped off at Father Jack's Irish pub for a swift half or two.
And this week, Ibiza town has been taken over by a medieval market.
Taket mercat mitjeva.
The streets around the old town fill with market stalls of ancient arts and crafts. Medieval artifacts, and a variety of interesting food and drink. After a tasty Moroccan falafel, I even managed to root out a cideria and get some practice with my pouring skills. There were lots of activities and medieval displays, from ironwork to sword battles. And some amazing entertainment long into the evenings. After chatting to a nice lady in the local supermarket, while looking for some cider natural, she recommended we stop off at Palma, a great little Asturian cideria, just near where we were staying. No pouring required here, at least inside, as they had sophisticated aerators for easy cider pouring. We spent a lot of evenings there and ate a lot of tapas.
We took a long walk around the harbour to the east and out to Talamanca beach. On the way back, we hopped aboard the ferry for a shortcut across the port, which handily stops right outside our apartment.
Now becoming a bit of a tradition, we hunt out a local bowling centre and throw a few frames to round off the trip nicely. Chris puts up a good fight, but I sneak ahead as usual. Now it's time to leave Ibiza town for the flight back to Gatwick.